difference. Long as the money don't make you different, word of Drizzy. Never take a shortcut, this is long term. Watch them get their throat cut, cause they got terms.
Hi, welcome back everybody. Welcome to the episode number 2. Yes, number 2 of the podcast that Sam and Jack built. We're coming back to you today. We're actually our first kind of review of the book of Boba Fett. So we actually were going to release episode actually going over episode 1. Episode 1 was a little bit slow, so we wanted to do 2 episodes at once to kind of go over everything. I'm here with my co-host Sam again. What's going on, buddy?
What is going on, everyone? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Yeah, pretty much like what Jack said, we wanted to do a episode on the first episode of the book of Boba Fett, but it was kind of a little bit of a shorter episode. It was only about maybe 38 minutes. That's including credits and all that jazz, which actually take up a long time on the Disney Plus shows. But yeah, and plus either way on episode 1, there wasn't necessarily too much of a story going on. It was very story focused, but at the same time, there wasn't that much going on necessarily. Pretty much episode 1 was just kind of covering how Boba Fett was able to climb out of the Sarlacc pit, where he's been, since the time between the last time that we saw him in Return of the Jedi versus when we last saw him at the end of, or not the end, but during The Mandalorian season 2. So it's kind of trying to fill that gap in between that lost span of time, see what Boba's been up to, while at the same time continuing his journey after where The Mandalorian season 2 left off, especially with that post-credit scene where he takes over Jabba's palace and all that jazz. But yeah, so we're kind of having those two storylines coinciding, at the same time against each other. But episode 1 was, like I said before, it was a little bit of a shorter episode. However, with episode 2, this one was almost like an hour long. And this one, we got a lot more story as to what's going on with Boba Fett right now, and then continuing the story of what was going on when he climbed out of the Sarlacc pit back in episode 1. So, Jack, how did you feel whenever, kind of seeing these two storylines kind of going against each other and showing the past and the present Boba at the same time, and kind of seeing that journey of where he was now going to where he is, going to where he was at Mandalorian, and then seeing the journey that he's going on right now?
So I'll be honest, I did like the beginning of the first episode, and we kind of got a little flashback even to back in the Clone Wars when he was with Jango Fett a little bit.
Attack the Clones.
So yeah, we got a little bit of tidbit of that, which I thought was really cool. Even I think in the second episode too, we got a little bit of a flashback to there when he saw his Jango leaving on his shuttle or whatever as a little boy. So I liked how they flashed back there. Also showed how they had a actually decent explanation of him getting out of that Snorlax pit, because if you remember in Return of the Jedi, it says that it actually takes 1,000 years for you to digest. So he did have an actual, with his equipment and stuff like that he has, he actually had the chance to actually escape. And this is something that I think really ties into Boba's character. He would, try to do everything he possibly could to get out of that, which he ends up doing. The first episode, and that's why we didn't do a podcast on it, I just thought it moved a little bit slow start, which shows like this sometimes typically do. I mean, if you look back at some of the all-time greatest shows, Breaking Bad, for example, comes to mind. Kind of a slower start, and then I think in the episode 2 though, it really kind of took off. We got a lot of action there. We got the flashback with I believe those are the Tuskens, right? Tusken Raiders. So we getting a good little storyline on where he's coming from and that time, like you said, in between Mandalorian and the book of Boba Fett. And I think eventually, these two, it's going to kind of finally catch up to where he was at. And then, of course, they're also doing the present day. I'm interested to see, the stuff with the mayor and stuff like that. That was very interesting. I know there's a lot of hints at a lot of things that are to come here in this show. I know a lot of people are speculating that Luke Skywalker is potentially going to make an appearance in this show as well, as he did in The Mandalorian at some point. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of flashbacks to a lot of Star Wars characters and maybe some hints and stuff like that. I did like, the twins. That was a good introduction there.
That looks like cousins.
Yeah, and they look very dangerous. That fucking Wookiee that they brought in.
Oh my God, I was
terrifying.
What the
hell? He looks terrifying. He looks sick as hell. And Wookiees Wookiees are pretty much indestructible. So to somebody like Boba, this is going to be a very like I think combative like challenge. Like unless you're a Jedi, like a Wookiee it's pretty damn near unstoppable. So I like how they kind of introduce that. There's actually like a sense of threat and stuff like that. I like how the transition from Jabba to Boba. A lot of people aren't really respecting Boba really as this kind of like authoritative like taking of the throne type character. So it's kind of he has to kind of like go through this like no, I'm this dude. Like I'm a bounty hunter, and I work. Even though Jabba was my employer, I'm hardcore as well. I deserve the respect as well. And I think we got that a little bit in the first episode when the mayor was like unwilling to give him an offering.
Yeah.
And so in this episode, Boba was like, when they finally bring the assassin, they're going to kill him. They end up killing the assassin or whatever. And Boba's like, I'm not going to take this as payment. I'm going to take this as tribute that you owe me.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different dynamics, I think, going on in the present day. That's very, very interesting. And I know one big criticism of this that we can kind of switching gears a little bit. One big criticism that I'm seeing a lot from like Twitter and a lot of people online is Boba Fett showing his face. I don't know how you feel about that.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a big deal because technically Boba is not part of the Mandalorian clan because like even though he's wearing Mandalorian armor, it doesn't mean that he's following their ways or anything like that. It's not like in the Mandalorian with Mando that he doesn't ever show his face because he was part of the Mandalorian, clan and all that stuff. So I really don't see why Boba would have to also partake in that tradition if he's not accustomed to their ways and he's not part of their clan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think Django or Boba were ever clarified as Mandalorian, even though they like wear the helmets. I know they're just bounty hunters. They just wear like armor.
And plus, I mean, I could be wrong.
You've seen that. Yeah. You've seen that though, right? Like the people kind of. I've had a couple of people that I've seen on Twitter, and I even saw like an article earlier with the main actor that plays Boba Fett. He was kind of Tamara Morrison, I believe.
Yeah, Tamara.
Yeah, he there was like an article that, people kind of criticizing, Boba Fett finally showing his face. My whole thing with that is like we know what he looks like. Like yeah. Django like put on his like revealed his like face in episode 2 Clone Wars, and everybody looks like that guy. So I mean, it's like come on. And the
first thing we ever even saw of Django in episode 2 was his face. Like he wasn't even in his armor, or no, scratch that. I think we did see him in his armor first, but we didn't know it was him at the time.
Yeah, I just seen like a couple of tweets, like one of the criticism, and I've seen it like constantly on my Twitter too. I was just like, just him showing the face ruined the character for me, and I don't like agree with that because like we know what he looks like already. Like there's not any special like
I think people that say that are not necessarily an avid Star Wars fan, so they're not going to know what the Mandalorian ways are, or not necessarily that, but they don't know that Boba Fett is not part of the Mandalorian culture because pretty much the only thing that they know about Mandalorian culture is from the Mandalorian. So they're seeing Boba having the same type of armor as Mando, and they're automatically thinking, well, then that means Boba is also part of the Mandalorian culture, when in reality he's not.
It's not. Yeah, he's just a bounty hunter. Yeah. Well, I think in some instances, I think removing a helmet or removing a mask is like detrimental to the character. Like Kylo Ren, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. Like was a huge advocate of this. I don't think that dude should have ever taken off his mask. I think he should have kept that thing on for the entire trilogy.
I mean, I mean, on all honesty,
me personally.
In all honesty, he kind of lost his menacing demeanor as soon as he took off his mask. In The Force Awakens, I was just kind of like, that's what he looks like.
Yeah, he looks like just some like goth teenager that's has a bad attitude.
Yeah,
like,
I was just
mask,
like,
though. With the mask though, like you can do some like no one knows like what's behind like your face. You are the mask, So I think it like for a character like that, it's detrimental. But I think for like Boba Fett, we know what this guy looks like already. He's a clone. We saw his face as a little kid, and even though like when he wears the mask, yeah, he does look more badass. That's the point. Like he's
he looks dope. Obviously,
yeah, he looks dope. Yeah, he looks dope. But yeah, no, and kind of going back to the original kind of point that we were talking about, I do like the kind of the pace that they're starting to kind of get on. Like I said, the first episode started off a little slow, but this next episode I think really like kind of picked up, and we're kind of getting a good direction on where this thing's gonna go. I think Jon Favreau's doing a great job. I think he's a genius.
I think probably my only criticism of these kind of 2 episodes is mainly I only have like 2 criticisms, and the first one would kind of just be like it's not even necessarily a criticism, it's just kind of like something that I've noticed. We don't necessarily have like a clear like journey as to what Boba is heading towards. Like things are just happening, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like things are just kind of going on at the same time that Boba is doing his thing. And then my second criticism is that it felt like we're not getting enough of Boba's journey in the present versus his journey from when we saw him get out of the Sarlacc pit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like we're not getting enough of the present of what's going on with the whole assassin and the mayor subplot, and we're getting just a little bit too much of that backstory.
Prologue.
Like I think I saw somebody say on Twitter, like we really got like a whole origin story behind Boba's staff that we saw in The Mandalorian.
Yeah. That's one thing I've kind of criticized too, because I think if that's one thing too that I'd criticize, I think they should have just touched on that on episode 1, kind of shorten that story up, because we don't need to see all this with the Tusken Raiders. I think, I mean, unless it's leading up to something that we don't know about yet. Yeah. Which it could be. I usually like to trust Jon Favreau in these like situations, just to kind of see what he can do, because I mean he is a genius.
I do hope that all of that Tusken Raider stuff's gonna pay off eventually, because it would really
right now
suck.
It's not.
Yeah, it would really suck if we're getting all of this backstory and then it just ends up being like for nothing. Because they could have, if they wanted to, they could have totally just been like, yo, Boba gets out of the Sarlacc pit, he finds Tusken Raiders, he kills them all, steals one of their clothes and the staff, sees Mando getting his armor from the sheriff, and then boom, and then we're off on another journey or something like that.
And then at some point he has to meet up with Finnick, right? And
then at some point we have to see him where he was when he came in episode 5 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I think like it's I did like the action scene with the train. I think that was really dope.
That was a dope sequence.
It was a super dope scene. I do the second episode the Tusken Raiders did get a little bit crazy, but like you said, I hope they don't get too drowned in with that, because we do want to kind of continue on the story here. Like, I'm interested to see like we're looking like the twins are looking like they're going to be the main villains of this this show. At least they're an early candidate for who the main villains may be. Of course, we don't really know yet, because I mean, we could get a big reveal here on maybe a secret Star Wars villain, that may be lurking in the shadows here. Who knows?
We might get somebody back from the Clone Wars or something like that. Like
Clone Wars, Mandalorian.
Like I was totally not expecting Ahsoka to show up in the Mandalorian season 2, and she's like one of the only Clone Wars characters that I'm very familiar with, because I haven't seen all of the Clone Wars. I've only seen like the first, I want to say maybe like 5 episodes or something like that. I do need to watch the rest of it, but
the Clone Wars is very important. I haven't watched enough of it either, to be honest. But it's supposed to be a really important show. But I think that was cool with the Mandalorian, though, that they brought back a lot of these characters. Throwback, even like when we saw Boba Fett, we're like, holy crap! Like, this dude's back. Like no way, we got all these classic Star Wars characters, and I think we're gonna get that with the Book of Boba Fett too. We're gonna get some callbacks. Like I said, there's a rumor out there that Luke Skywalker is gonna be in this at some point, which I think would be cool, because Baby Yoda went with Luke Skywalker after the Mandalorian season finale of season 2. So this would be Baby Yoda would definitely be with him in some capacity, you would think, because he's with him right now. So Boba Fett does end up kind of running into him at some point, or the story kind of goes into that direction. Then I mean that I think that would be crazy too. And then there's a lot of other characters that we could pull from, from the the original universe. I mean, maybe Chewbacca, maybe shows up at some point.
Yeah, we
I
can
don't
get
know.
Chewie back. Obviously I do not think this is totally not ever gonna happen. I don't ever think we're gonna see Han again. We're never seeing Han again. Harrison Ford doesn't want to do it.
No, well, Harrison Ford doesn't want to do it, but at this time frame or in this point of time, him and Leia would have to be recasted. I think at this point, because we're in kind of right after Return of the Jedi, so this is 30 years before, so they're still relatively young at this point.
They could get the kid from Solo.
They could. I think that would be maybe a good choice, and then of course Leia, you got to think about what, which actor you can maybe put in there, and then of course they could maybe try to do a CGI type thing. I think at this point,
which as we know with Star Wars, has always worked out for them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, I think they were actually looking for after the Mandalorian season 2. I saw some, and again, you can't listen to everything that you see online.
I mean, it's true.
You can't take it to heart, but they were looking for dedicated people to do kind of that what do you call it? Where they stick the face, the deep fakes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
They're looking for an actual deep fake artist. So a lot of people got really excited because they're like, holy crap, they're gonna try to do a whole maybe series with Luke Skywalker here, a whole TV show
Yeah, because I think Lucasfilms hired a dude on YouTube that did a better deepfake of Luke Skywalker in the Mandalorian season 2 finale than Lucasfilm did, and they actually hired him to be a visual effects guy.
Yeah, they hired him too, and so I think the rumor is if they can get Sebastian Stan to play Luke, and just deep fake Mark Hamill's head on there at some point or in some capacity, it'd look almost exactly like him, and then they could literally
they wouldn't even need to do that. They can just get Sebastian Stan.
I know he would be so dope as Luke, man, and I would accept it too. I would be no, because we want to honestly for me, I mean, I want to see more Luke Skywalker right after Return of the Jedi, what he did in those kind of years, kind of what we're gonna get with Obi-Wan later this year. I think it would be really cool.
Well, I think I'm kind of on the different page than that, because I mean, yeah, I obviously want to see what's going on with all the characters right now, because that's the kind of content that we're getting right now. But I'm actually really advocating for us to start moving away from the Skywalker saga part of everything, because I actually want to explore other eras. I want to go to the High Republic, or I want to go to the Old Republic, or
Old Republic's the next thing.
Yeah, or even I want a new era, said I don't know how many years after Rise of Skywalker or something like that. I just want to move away from the Skywalker saga, because it feels like whenever we enter the Skywalker saga, it just feels like there's just too much controversy and butting heads as to what Lucasfilm should do and what they shouldn't do and all that stuff. And I just feel like if we're in another era, there won't be that type of controversy, because there's no chance of any of those characters returning except maybe Yoda.
Yeah, well, I think I think the big controversy is with 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, because there's just no plan.
Yeah, and I mean, I have my criticisms about the new trilogy as well. I personally didn't like it. I like The Mandalorian and I like Book of Boba Fett so far. And from what I've seen from the majority of I mean, we can only take the internet for the sample size, because you don't see everybody. I mean, of course, the people that I see, in real life are just, oh my God, The Mandalorian, oh my God, Book of Boba Fett. They're genuinely excited for these shows. There's a lot better reception to these shows than there was definitely with the new trilogy. And so I think, because this actually feels like Star Wars. The new trilogy, it felt rushed. They had multiple directors doing it. It looked like they didn't have any plan. Like I said, I thought Kylo Ren's character they completely missed the mark with that one, in my opinion. I mean, other people may have, their disagreements with that. I think that's where the real butting heads comes, is that new trilogy. I think that little piece of whether it's a Skywalker saga or whatever it might be, that's where people kind of have their criticisms at for the most part.
Yeah, because I actually enjoy all of the non-episode stuff that we've gotten from the new Disney era.
It's great.
Like legitimately Rogue One. Oh, are we gonna give our ranking in this episode, or are we still saving that?
For the Star Wars rankings?
Yeah, we're saving that for a different episode, right?
Yeah, I actually need time for that one
because I have my ranking.
I definitely want to do that because I do want to rank like my Star Wars content. The
Okay,
Mandalorian is definitely up there though.
Yeah, then I'm not gonna say what my favorite Star Wars movie is because people are gonna get mad. But I think
Last Jedi, isn't it?
It's not The Last Jedi. Don't worry.
Okay, no one's gonna get mad then. You're fine.
But essentially, yeah, like I said before, I really like all of the non-episode stuff that we've gotten from Star Wars. Like I like Rogue One, I like Mandalorian, I like Book of Boba Fett. Like I like all these shows. It's just that when it comes to episode 7, 8, and 9, episode 7, really started off strong. Like even though, yeah, it was a copy of A New Hope, but hey, guess what? People like A New Hope. So, but I liked Force Awakens. I thought The Last Jedi, my opinion differs on it from time to time. One day I like it, one other day I don't like it. It just kind of flip flops. The Rise of Skywalker, I liked it in theaters, but then watching it again, I realized it's just a disappointment. I just felt like it could have been a lot better.
They had so much that they had a whole expand universe they could have touched on.
There was so much potential.
Refused.
There was just so much potential, and they lost it. You know what I mean?
I think they tried to tell a new story, a fresh story.
Yeah.
And I think that was the wrong move because people really like the expanded universe. Like people were really into a lot of the stories.
Everyone loves Legends, which is why I think with Book of Boba Fett, I think like it's really gonna have to win over a lot of people because Boba Fett in all of the Legends stuff is like S tier, like God tier, like amazing stuff. Like that's the reason why people like Boba Fett. Even after the original trilogy, because in the original trilogy he didn't do that much stuff. It was all of the stuff in all of the Legends and all of the expanded universe that made people really like Boba Fett. But now Disney's like, all right, well, guess what? All that shit is gone. So now it's like, well, you're gonna really have to do something to really make us love Boba Fett's character that is actually canon.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what's good about, and this is why I think Jon Favreau just needs to take over Star Wars because I think he's done such a great job.
Both him and Dave Filoni.
Yes. I think they're really kind of looking at like what the fans are saying, and they're fans of Star Wars themselves, so they look at the expanded universe. And if you want to like touch for just like people that don't like who aren't familiar with like the expanded universe with especially like specifically with Boba Fett.
Yeah, so with the expanded universe, I don't know much about Boba Fett in the expanded universe because I never really touched on that. But for anybody that doesn't know what the expanded universe is, it's basically anything pre-Disney Star Wars, like I want to say like 2012.
2015, 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say 2011, I think actually.
Well, they purchased it like sometime in like 2011, 2012, but the movie didn't like actually come out till
2015.
Well, I think even later than that, it was like 2017, 2016 when Force Awakens came out. I think it's 2017 actually.
Yeah, so pretty much anything that came out before 2013, let's say. I think that's a good
2015.
Point.
2015.
Yeah, anything that came out Star Wars wise before 2015 is considered the expanded universe or Legends. Like for instance, like all of the original Star Wars Battlefront games, The Force Unleashed, and pretty much just anything. I think even the Clone Wars was going to be considered Legends as well until they actually started developing a 7th season for it. But pretty much all of that stuff, like all of the cool stuff that you heard about Star Wars back then, like the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic, all of that stuff, that's pretty much just considered non-canon, just Legends and all that stuff. But now what Disney is also doing is kind of like picking and choosing what stuff from Legends they want to bring back, because like I think in Rise of Skywalker, they mentioned Darth Revan from Knights of the Old Republic.
Rise of Skywalker, there's a statue of Darth Revan. And I think there's a big
statue of
like
Darth Revan? Because I know one of the guards is called like the Revan clan or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or
I think I remember that. I think it
was like in the it was.
I know for sure. Yeah, I know for sure there's a statue of Revan, which got people really excited that we might get something in the Old Republic. And I think that's the next move. If they're going to do any type of movies or anything, or if they're going to do, I would love is to do like a whole like Game of Thrones style show on the Old Republic.
That's what I'm saying.
That would be insane. Instead of doing a movie, do like a whole like Game of Thrones like type show with the Old Republic. Like you're gonna have, there's so much material there that you can work off of. And we have so many cool characters that you can use. You can use Darth Nihilus, Darth Revan, all the ancient Jedis and stuff like that.
Darth Malik. You could bring back so many people from Knights of the Old Republic or the Old Republic.
Get Keanu Reeves to be Darth Revan, and
dude,
you're literally
that would be so bomb. And plus, I think there's 2 Star Wars projects coming out that are gonna be touched on. I think it's the High Republic, because there's Star Wars: The Acolyte, which I think is gonna be a series, and it's supposed to take place, I think, at the height of the High Republic. And then they just announced a new Star Wars game from Quantic Dream called Star Wars Eclipse that takes place during the High Republic as well, which I can't wait, but they say that it's not going to come out until like 2027 or something like that. And I was like, what?
A long time.
But either way,
I think it's supposed to be a really like deep like game though. Supposedly they're really excited about it.
And then
we'll see what happens.
And then plus as well, they're doing a remake of Knights of the Old Republic, which I cannot wait for.
Yeah. I hope they modernize it too. Like I hope we get a modern type of like combat system, like modern.
I'm just excited because all of the old voice cast as well, or I think most of the old voice cast is returning too, which means Jennifer Hill comes back as what's her name? I forgot what her name is. I've only played Knights of the Old Republic once, but
it's been so long. I haven't played it since I was a kid, and like I look at it now and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm like, I can't play this anymore. It's just so it hasn't aged. It hasn't aged the best. It's still, I mean, people still play it. And it's still a great game. It's one of the best games ever, honestly. Not just one of the best Star Wars games.
It's also got a great twist in there as well. If you haven't played Knights of the Old Republic, I'm not going to spoil it, so don't worry.
Yeah.
But so like I said before, once we can start actually like going into other eras of Star Wars, I think that's when we'll get like the really good Star Wars content. Like I can't wait for Taika Waititi's Star Wars project to come out. I don't know if Rian Johnson's still doing his Star Wars project. I think Patty Jenkins is still.
I think that one got scratched.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, that's what I heard. I see. Like
he was supposed to get his own trilogy.
Yeah, and we're kind of going off the Book of Boba Fett. I don't want to get into like a Rian Johnson smear like thing because I don't think like he did a bad like job with Episode 8. I understand what he was doing.
We won't rip on Rian Johnson too much. I think what we'll say is we can appreciate what he was trying to do with Episode 8. Whether or not it actually stuck the landing, I think it's for your own judgment.
That's my thing with like the whole Luke thing. Like we didn't get to actually see like, and this is like the thing with the expanded universe. You had Grandmaster Luke in the expanded universe.
Yeah.
This guy was crazy powerful, and we didn't really get to see that. Like Luke Skywalker in the expanded universe, like Grandmaster Luke is supposed to be one of the most powerful Jedi to ever exist, if not the most powerful. And we never got to see that. Like Mandalorian, Jon Favreau at least gave us a little taste of that when he fucking just
goes on all those droids.
Yeah, he just easily kills all those droids. Like, so we didn't actually get like a actual like expanded universe, like, or I would say Grandmaster Luke, like we were thinking that we got. Like Episode 8 kind of just dropped that ball completely on it. That's why I'm really excited in the Book of Boba Fett if Luke does make another appearance. Like if we can get any type of like thing we can get with like Luke in these shows, like even if it's a little bit, I would appreciate, because I thought they kind of dropped the ball in the new trilogy. I think they really let him down. And I understand what they were doing. We got to move off of that. There's new characters, there's new stories to tell. Definitely. Yeah.
Which is why, that's why I was saying, like, if we can move away from the Skywalker saga, because I don't feel like everything is revolving too much around the Skywalkers, and I'm like, we can make other characters and other stories in a different era. You know what I mean? Yeah, well,
I think I do. That's why I do like what they did with the Mandalorian and Boba Fett, though, because
that's why I really
these aren't Jedis; these are bounty hunters.
That's why I like the first season of the Mandalorian a lot more than the second season, because the first season was really like its own thing, like the only connection to the Skywalkers was pretty much Yoda because it's the same species as Yoda. But
yeah, Baby Yoda. Yeah,
season 2, well, I can appreciate all the cameos and all that stuff. It just kind of also felt like too much like, hey guys, we're still, we know you guys like all of this stuff, so here you go, here's all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, you kind of ruined the whole, like, it's kind of like the Spider-Man situation, you know what I mean? Like, people wanted to see Spider-Man interact with the Avengers, but at the same time, they want all of his stories to revolve around just him, like as if nobody else exists. So that was kind of like what it was with The Mandalorian, which is like, Mando had his own story and there was nothing surrounding it. But then in season 2, then it started interconnecting with all the past Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, we got all that, all like those old callbacks to characters, which I mean, I don't mind at all, like I like it, but I understand what you're saying. Like, we need something that's like fresh and new, I think. But that's why I said that, like, the Old Republic, like, they have such a, I think, a golden opportunity. I wish I was like in that like room with them, that writer's room with them.
We need to talk to Kathleen Kennedy right now.
Dude, and I have like my own like thing with her. I mean, I do like her, but I also don't like her at all. But like you have like all this like material that you have here in the Old Republic that you can just kind of just unleash. You have so much like content material and stuff like that. Like I said, if you can make like a Game of Thrones type show, minus the terrible ending. Don't do that.
Yeah, but minus stopping where you're supposed to stop.
Yeah, well, I think the Game of Thrones went through the right length. They didn't stick the landing. Like, I
mean, they should have gone longer.
Yeah, they should have gone longer. Yeah. Well, sometimes shows go a little bit too long, but I think like if we got 10 seasons in the Old Republic, if they did it right, like you could do 10 seasons of the Old Republic. You have enough content there with that to kind of make like a really like long and do it like thousands, like do it like 10,000 years before episode 1, where we don't get any, we have new characters, new stories, and new things that we got to build, create new characters.
Which is why it still sucks that they made all of the expanded universe, non-canon, because we still don't necessarily have origin stories for the actual Jedi Order or the Sith or all that stuff. We don't have world building. We don't have like different lightsaber colors. Like Rey's yellow lightsaber at the end of The Rise of Skywalker was the first, like non-traditional lightsaber color that we've gotten in canon.
Well, we got the dark saber too.
Yeah, we got the dark saber, but that was like later on. But we've already also seen the dark saber in Clone Wars, so I've heard.
Yeah.
But we have that yellow lightsaber. There's other lightsaber colors out there as well, and we still don't have we still haven't seen people use them. We don't even have like gray Jedi. We don't have any of that stuff.
I would love for them to touch on gray Jedi, man. That's like my one thing.
I love gray Jedi. Like, if I were to be
just balance,
have the Force, I want to be a gray Jedi, because it's like I get to have kind of the morals of the actual Jedi, but at the same time I can touch into the dark side of the Force and just combine them both. Gray Jedis are badass, dude.
Yeah, they're so sick. Yeah, that's what I really wanted them to touch on though in this new trilogy, is like we could have gotten like a new type of like Thanos type villain that could have been like he wasn't a Sith, but he wasn't a Jedi either.
Yeah, that could have been dope.
Yeah, it would have been like, it's like, well, I got all these powers with the dark side, but I also like have all the wisdom of, I'm not like so much into power like the Sith are. Like, I'm like, I have like other motives but his motive may not be like necessarily good. It's something that he's like, oh, it's for the greater good. Kind of like Thanos. It's like, I'm gonna wipe out half the universe.
Because,
it's because it needs to happen. Yeah, it's not morally, it's not good. It's not something, it's you're gonna kill a bunch of people. It's like genocide. So to the like average person, they're like, well, you're a sociopath for doing that. But in his mind, and and if you kind of look at it from his perspective, it's like, well,
he's got a point.
He does kind of have a point, like, especially. I mean, we'll touch on the MCU later with the Celestials and stuff like that, but.
I was gonna say it's almost kind of like Magneto, you know what I mean? Like, even with Magneto, he has the same goal as Professor X, but he goes about it in a different way. Like he thinks that mutants and humankind should coexist, but at the same time, because of the way that humans treat mutants, he also thinks at the same time that mutants are better than humans, therefore,
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that there should have been at least. It would be so interesting to have a Star Wars villain that can touch into the dark side of the Force, but
And
not
not
necessarily
be a Sith.
yeah, not
Like,
be a
he's-
Sith and be so wise in the ways of the light side of the Force, but not be an actual Jedi. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be so. That's so interesting.
That's why I want to get a job with Lucasfilms, man. I was like, it's my dream. Like, just let me write a script for you.
Kathleen, if
'Cause
you're watching this, hire us right now.
Hire us, yeah, please. Like,
Get us in that
God,
writer's
I would
room.
love that. Yeah, I would love that because, like, honestly, well, it's like what you said. They're kind of they're sticking with like I think what fans want, but they're also doing a lot of stuff. Like, you have so much like material that you really can like touch on here. I do, like I said, kind of going back to the Book of Boba Fett. I am very optimistic about these first two episodes, and kind of what we might see, like with the twins and stuff like that, and what this maybe could expand upon to, with their universe. You know, it's a good little side story, especially because, like you said, people are super into Boba Fett and the expand universe. So hopefully, Jon Favreau brings some of that stuff that people really enjoyed and really loved, and kind of gives us a little bit of a taste of that, you know, with this show.
Yeah, and
How many episodes? It's six episodes, right?
Seven.
Seven.
Episodes.
See, I think, you know, this is gonna be a very interesting. I think 7 episodes.
He's even bringing back some of the directors from The Mandalorian as well. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Deborah Chow is going to be in it because she was too busy directing Obi-Wan. But I know
Obi-Wan's gonna be so good.
Obi-Wan's
gonna be so good.
dope.
It's gonna be so good.
Dope. But
Well,
I know
I think
that
we're gonna have Darth Maul and Obi-Wan too, right? Darth Maul and Darth Vader.
and that's what everyone wants to see, another matchup between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. Everyone wants to see another live action.
I would love to see Darth Vader versus Darth Maul, man.
Oh, dude, that would be
It would be sick, dude. It'd be sick.
That would
I
be
think
so
we're gonna
dope.
get it, man.
That would be so dope.
Because Darth Maul, I mean, it's canon now that he's alive.
Yeah, it's totally canon. I don't know
Yeah,
what happens to him after Rebels though. Does he die in Rebels? I don't know if he dies in
I
Rebels.
don't remember Rebels.
I didn't watch
I
any
know.
of Rebels.
I
that's
just
why.
know, like in the ending scene of Han, he's alive, and that kind of is like kind of in that middle there where Obi-Wan's gonna take place. So I think he's confirmed to be an Obi-Wan, if I'm not mistaken.
Because I think it's supposed to be the same guy in the Clone Wars, right? Sam Witwer. I mean, let me look this up.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is.
I think Darth Maul is for sure going to be an Obi. I know Darth Vader is going to be 100% in it.
Yeah, they confirmed that at the Disney conference,
Which is going to be so sick. We're actually going to see.
Now that you said it, now I want an Darth Maul versus Darth Vader. That would be so dope.
Dude, they have that's what I'm saying. They have the perfect opportunity to do this, like, because Darth Maul is no longer working with. He doesn't mess with Darth Sidious. Like, he's no longer part of the Empire. He's kind of on. He would be on his own at this point, and then Darth Vader, of course, is like he's the Sith Lord or whatever. Like, they could like step on each other's territories, maybe. You know, who knows? But I know we're definitely probably gonna hopefully maybe get Obi-Wan and Darth Vader matchup again, live action.
They haven't confirmed if he's gonna be in it yet, but I think they're bringing back the Inquisitors from Jedi Fallen Order and from I think the Clone Wars.
That's sick.
Well, I think that's kind of cool. It's just that I'm not a big fan of Jedi Fallen Order. I just feel like it's just kind of too plain. There. I finished it, but I just felt like it was just kind of too plain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. Like I said, there's a lot of like different directions they could go in.
And it's set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Oh man, I'm so excited for that. We're definitely gonna do a podcast when that trailer drops too.
And that's still this year.
Yep. So excited, dude. I'm so excited.
And what I like as well, kind of going back onto what we do like about Book of Boba Fett, what I like is now the kind of technology that they're using with doing all the background stuff. Like they brought in a new technology called stagecraft. It's basically like a green screen, but you actually have the whole set already on there. Like you have the whole background.
That's insane.
Already in the back of you, and you film just like that, and then you can go in and then just basically kind of remove the video filter from the background and all that stuff and make it blend in. They use it on the Mandalorian. They're using it on Boba Fett. They're even going to use it in the Batman as well. They even got to use it for the Batman.
That's nuts, dude.
Which is why it all looks like That's why like Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett have like this like certain look to them. Like you realize like they have like this certain like they look a certain way in terms of cinematography.
Yeah, and that's one thing I really like about both these Star Wars TV shows is that the cinematography on them's been great. It feels like Star Wars. It feels like Star Wars. Like the feeling of it, like Boba Fett feels like a Star Wars. It feels like his show too. Like with the Mandalorian, it felt like that too. Like,
and it really goes into that space western feel that they were going for.
Yes, dude. That's why I'm saying if they could like somehow do that with like an old Republic TV show, like something where we get like a bunch of like Jedi, a bunch of Sith, we get all these storylines and stuff like that. You can build these new characters. Imagine
that Star Wars Game of Thrones scenario, but with the cinematography of
Mandalorian and
Boba Fett. That would look so.
That's why I'm so excited for the Obi-Wan series, because we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get similar cinematography on that. And actually, I'm gonna look it up right now. Who the director of the Obi-Wan series is?
It's Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow.
Yeah, she directed a few episodes on The Mandalorian.
Oh my goodness, yeah, Deborah Chow is awesome.
Yeah, she's great. I love the episodes that she did.
Yeah, no, she is incredible. That's gonna be just amazing. Joby Harold's gonna be the writer.
But I think also as well, you know who actually kind of made that look? I would say it goes back to Greg Fraser, who was the cinematographer for Rogue One. Because if I were to say Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett look very similar to Rogue One, and on Rogue One the cinematographer was Greg Fraser, and Greg Fraser is also the cinematographer for Dune and for the Batman.
Oh man. Yeah, Dune has some of the greatest cinematography I've ever seen out of anything.
That is
like
legit.
It's comparable to Lord of the Rings. Like honestly,
man.
Like it literally is. Like even if you're like because you have to have like I think a certain type of interest to get into that type of movie. Mm-hmm. Like Dune is definitely not for everybody.
Not for everybody, but it certainly was for me.
Oh yeah, no, for me too. I loved it. But like Dune, like I think like even if you're not into that, the cinematography for that movie was incredible, dude.
Yes. Oh my god.
It's some of the best, like well shot, like one of the most well shot movies literally since Lord of the Rings. And like I'll probably get like a lot of slack for anybody that's going to comment on this and listen to this, but I'm not like the most, like I love the Lord of the Rings, but I'm not like a diehard Lord of the Rings fan. Like I don't like I'm not like into it like I am Star Wars or Marvel or.
You won't
Batman.
get slack from me. I do love Lord of the Rings.
Well, I like it, but it's not like my go-to series or whatever. But even like with that, like the cinematography for the Lord of the Rings is the greatest cinematography I've ever seen out of any film. Oh, that's sick. That's awesome. I did read The Hobbit when I was a kid. That was one of my favorite books. The Hobbit was amazing.
I haven't read The Hobbit.
That was one of the first books I actually ever read. My mom actually read it to me like when I was super little, and then I read it again when I was like a little kid. It was actually really like that book, but I didn't read any of the other Lord of the Rings books.
I have all three of the Lord of the Rings books, but like in one book form. I'm not gonna get it because it's too far away, but it looks dope.
Oh, that's sick. But yeah, no, that's comparable. So yeah, no, but that's really exciting. So right before we get out of here, do you have like any predictions with the Book of Boba Fett? Do you see them? Do you see them like going in any certain type of direction here?
I don't, honestly, because I feel like this can turn out kind of like
a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it can go in a lot of different ways. I kind of have the same feeling like how I felt with season 1 of Mandalorian, where I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's a good thing.
I'm just here for the journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of with you on that one. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. It looks like right now the twins and. That new Wookiee that they introduced, that badass looking guy who
we're definitely gonna have a showdown.
Did we get a name on him? Do you know his name?
I think they did say it, or
I'm gonna look.
I don't think they said his name out loud. I think they said it. I think it had it on the subtitles, but I didn't read the subtitles.
Oh my god, yeah. Just looking at pictures of him, he's so intimidating. It's crazy. It's crazy. He's nuts. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get a showdown with that Wookiee for sure. So Wookiee, the twins, and then there could be somebody else above, like
Possibly.
I think, like me personally, my speculation right now is the mayor has something to do with the twins. Like, I think he's like somewhat kind of, because he tried to assassinate him. So I think like he's kind of in it with the twins. There's definitely people that are not happy with Boba Fett taking over Jabba's rule for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the whole point of the show is. It's to just kind of have Boba Fett kind of prove himself to be worthy of Jabba's seat. But I think that's kind of like just like the overall arc for Boba. I think that's just pretty much just what his whole goal is to be, to actually prove himself. But in terms of where the story is actually going to go, I just don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
But like you said, that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like what we'll do is we'll probably do a podcast unless something crazy happens in episode 3 or 4. Like if we get like some major reveal, I think we'll try to do a podcast like every two episodes to kind of digest, full story of what's going on. Just in case we get a slow episode there. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully episode 3 is so crazy we have to do another episode on it. We're just like, whoa. No way, I
think with those, I usually so far, at least in terms of Marvel, like with the Marvel Disney Plus shows, there's always some kind of reveal, like in like the 4th or 5th episode or something like that. Yeah. So far, like in The Mandalorian, I think that's also kind of been the case, except for the first season. But at least in the second season, I think the 4th episode was when Ahsoka came out, or I could be mistaken. It could have been like the 3rd one or something like that. But yeah, we'll definitely see about. If it's a little bit of a slow one, then we'll combine it with another major episode or something like that, or we'll do 2 episodes at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, I just can't wait for what's gonna happen in this show, because I feel like we're also gonna get some sort of like, I don't know, like I feel like this is just a real space western. It actually does really have that feel.
That's why I love the feeling about it. I have the feeling about that. That's why I love the feeling about what's going to come with the new Obi-Wan series. That's what I loved about Mandalorian. Space Western. Like, that's what I like, that how they're going for. That's what the way Star Wars has kind of always felt like to me, like a space Western type.
We went from space opera to now Space Western.
Space Western, yeah.
Which is
for
dope.
Sure. Awesome. Well, I think that is it. We'll kind of stay in tune on everything that's going on. If you all do like this episode, if you all do have any suggestions or questions, about, maybe in the next podcast, what we maybe can go over about the new Star Wars stuff. We're very excited, both of us. I've been a huge Star Wars fan since I was a little kid. I'm loving what they're doing I love what they did with The Mandalorian. I love what they're doing with the Book of Boba Fett. And I'm going to definitely love what they're going to do with Obi-Wan and what they're doing with these new shows coming out. So a lot of exciting stuff. But I do appreciate you guys coming in. So does Sam, listening to us today. Please drop a like, please subscribe, and please tune in next time. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's night.
See y'all later.